Hey everyone, welcome to the Slice of Technology podcast. I'm your host, Jared Taylor. Joining me today is Alex Z, the founder and CEO of Insilico Medicine. Alex, how's it going?
So far, so good. Thank you.
Really excited to have you here today. As we get started, your work sits at the crossroads of AI and biotechnology. I want to start with kind of a big question. If you could fast forward 20 years, what do you hope the world looks like because of the advancements you and your team are making? And I guess before that, though, tell us what you're working on today for those that aren't familiar with Insilico Medicine, and then we'll tie into that.
Sure. Well, first of all, very happy to be with you. So I'm Alex. I'm the founder and CEO of Insilico. And what we do at Insilico for the past 10 years, we utilize deep learning technology to identify drugs from both kind of angles, from the target identification. So we do disease modeling. We try to understand why disease happens, identify the key drivers, and then discover and design new molecules that disable those targets. We also go from kind of another perspective. We mine massive biological data sets, mostly publicly available, and try to unite them with clinical trials data, trying to understand how those drugs that we discover are going to work in human clinical trials and whether those clinical trials are going to succeed or fail. So we try to kind of match the target molecule disease combo into one kind of timeline, trying to understand which timeline is more likely to benefit the patients. So that's what we do at our core. We have many kind of side quests beyond the main mission, which is speeding up and significantly reducing the cost of drug discovery and increasing the probability of success. But many of those side quests go into longevity. So pretty much what I do is everything is focused around the concept of extending human productive life, human healthy life. And to help achieve that goal, we also build very comprehensive life models. So I call them life models. You're probably very familiar with world models, where like Sora and many others that can produce a basic simulation of the world. And we do the same, but in different data types, not just imaging or video. We utilize different omics data types, so biological data types that humans do not really comprehend very well, but machines do. And we combine those data types all together, so previously incompatible data types, omics, transcriptomics, methylation, genetic data, with massive amounts of metadata, trying to train either multi-modal transformers or combinations of transformers and diffusion models to understand what life is, basically, in not only humans, but also in animals and across species. And also, since those transformers are multimodal, they have multiple capabilities. They can track aging in time, so we can actually replace the word aging as biology in time. And they also can help you discover drugs. We also invest quite actively in robotics, both in kind of laboratory robotics and also multi-agent systems that help you perform experiments automatically. And go beyond that also into sustainability. So it's kind of my personal passion, but it's actually driving some revenue. We design different small molecules and different materials with desired properties to help decarbonize the planet, and also identify new materials that can help us with hydrogen storage, improve battery technology. and many other material properties. So hopefully one day we'll be able to apply this technology also to kind of preservation of organic systems in time, in cryostorage, and or maybe in kind of different states of matter. So that's what we do at Insilico. We do very fundamental AI research, aging research, but at our core, we're a drug discovery company. We're pretty successful from the revenue standpoint. The revenue is constantly growing. We have made a few deals that made us famous. So we basically sell software or we sell drugs. So we discover and sell drugs at scale. Pretty much no disease area escapes our AI. We can go after cancer, metabolic diseases, all kinds of chronic diseases, and aging itself. The way I see the future in 20 years, well, first of all, it's very difficult to plan beyond 10 years nowadays because technology is moving so quickly. However, in the pharmaceutical industry, technology is a tool, but there are rules and regulations, and much of what we do has to move at the speed of traffic because it's a very regulated industry. It's not very easy to cut corners, and most of the time, especially when you are in human clinical trials, you don't want to cut any corners. And it's actually pretty clear what the 20 years are going to look like. So currently, we're focusing on small molecule drugs. So those are, tiny molecules, chemical entities that disable certain proteins or have certain functions. I think that is going to continue into the next 20 years. They're not going to go away. Currently, still 60, 70% of the drugs that are helping patients at scale, including generics, are small molecule drugs. It's really good to have a small molecule drug because it's cheap to produce. Once they go off patent, anybody can access them globally. So it kind of addresses the issue of equality. They're usually multi-purpose entities, so you can purpose them towards multiple diseases, depending on the dose, depending on the combination. And you can store them for a very long time. However, there are multiple other therapeutic modalities that are coming up. So we are, of course, a player in the biologic space as well with software, but we plan to also produce biologics. I think that much of what we've heard in science fiction movies about synthetic biology and our ability to introduce vaccines and RNA therapeutics, we're likely to see it in the next 20 years. I think much of what we do will be very automated in the next 20 years. So multi-agent systems will be able to perform research automatically in a goal-oriented manner. We've already demonstrated that it is possible and it's within realm of possibilities. And I also think that we will be able to exploit the power of quantum computing. So many of the quantum computing systems are becoming much more scalable. We've demonstrated that quantum computing technology can be used, like real quantum computer, to generate novel small molecule drugs. We can also synthesize them, test them, and they work. So recent preprint on archive. And I think that these technologies will be scaled in 20 years. So we would be able to simulate entire worlds. In our life modeling kind of department, we're already thinking about how to simulate entire kind of lifetimes on GPU, but in theory, if we scale to quantum, we would be able to simulate entire worlds and identify drugs and different kind of human augmenting interventions at scale. And I think that all we need to get into this beautiful future is peace. So what I'm afraid of the most now is, if the world goes into the state of war.
By the way, usually I would only ask 10 years, but you have the cool door. Like I had to throw another 10 years on top of that. Like it's here, move to the side real quick so people can see how cool this design is too that you have here. And mention the Star Wars thing that you told me about before this. I think people would love hearing this. How your some of your setup is.
So sure, you can kind of Google us and have a look at our robotics lab. So we have a fancy, fully automated target discovery laboratory that goes end to end from sample processing to compound management to sample management to phenotypic screening to multi-omics analysis. So it's six interconnected rooms, and we decided to make it, look a little more futuristic than people got used to see. So it's a pretty nice walkthrough. So I also have beautiful, doors that open up as the lab recognizes your face. You walk around, it knows who you are, and you can do a, lab walkthrough with a laser pointer without putting the gown on. So it's pretty cool stuff. Look us up. It's called, where we like to call it, the sixth generation laboratory because we can already plan some of the experiments with objective-oriented approach. So we just set a goal, and the system plans the experiments based on what it knows about the robots.
That is so cool. I hope to see one of these at some point. That would just be like kudos to you and the team for putting together that. That's so different than what I've heard from other people. When we look at, you've spent a good chunk of your career to extend healthy human lifespan. What first inspired you to focus on longevity, and how do you view aging has evolved over the years?
Sure. So I've been interested in aging since very early childhood, and I always wanted to figure out a way to avoid, this paradox of life where you work very, very hard to reach the peak, and then whatever you do, regardless of how hard you work, you decline and die, and you lose everything. So, in kind of, if you look at it over a lifespan, you don't really own anything. You rent it for the length of your life. You can generate value and believe in afterlife, but if you look at it pragmatically, there is kind of no point. And I really wanted to find a way to kind of escape this paradigm because it looks like much of our biology is plastic, just like our psychology is plastic. And I kind of grew up on sci-fi movies, right, and cartoons. And I always wanted to take part in this industry. However, only in my kind of early 20s, when I made enough money in semiconductors to pursue this dream, I decided to make a switch. And when I made the switch from tech to biotech, I actually thought that technology is going to move much faster. So I thought that, next 5-10 years, we're going to see breakthroughs that will be truly transformative, and aging will become the thing of the past, right? And you usually think in these terms when you are in tech, because things are really moving fast in tech, right? We've seen the internet, we've seen the mobile phones, social networks, AI. But in biotech, things move, again, very, very slowly, very often at the speed of traffic. And most people don't realize how much it costs and how long it takes to discover one drug, right? So one drug can take you 10 years. The probability of failure is 99% if you're starting with a novel target, with a novel disease mechanism. For many diseases, we don't even know why they happen, right? So Alzheimer's, many others. And aging is driving most of the diseases, and we still don't understand aging. Um, so you tend to overestimate the pace of progress when you are in AI or when you are in IT. And once you get into biotech, you realize that the enabling technology may be changing and transforming very quickly, but the underlying biology and the underlying toolkit for treating disease and for augmenting our functions is actually very limited. So now I became much more pragmatic, and I think that the ultimate goal should always remain the same. So increasing healthy, productive longevity is a great goal to have. And it's kind of like going to Mars. All other kind of goals become much more achievable when you think about the grand goal. Um, but now I'm becoming much more pragmatic and skeptical when it comes to aging research because we are now at the forefront as a company. We have life models, we have geroprotectors. Much of our pipeline in the company, I'm talking about the drug pipeline, was discovered using aging research. So, if it works, it's going to be great. Maybe we'll add a certain percentage of life to everybody's, countdown. But now I'm much, much more pragmatic. And I think that more people should be focused on aging research. So right now I see people are very distracted by short-term goals, current events. Imagine people are talking about, okay, which bathroom do I use today, right? Let's talk about, who can have kids, who cannot have kids, right? Let's first figure out our most important problem, which is aging, right? Because, it doesn't matter what bathroom you use, I don't care. But we are all gonna die, right? And if you don't figure out aging, everything else doesn't really matter.
What is something that what is one of the most exciting developments in AI and biotech that the public isn't talking about yet but should be?
Well, I think that those are the life models for sure. So the ability to understand human and animal biology in time using AI, this is a superpower. So now it's kind of like switching from statistics to deep learning, right? When we did that at Insilico in 2014, every time you publish a research paper, people are asking, okay, why are you not using linear regression? Because it outperforms in this experiment. Why are you not utilizing random forest? Is just as good, right? Why are you going deep learning? And you're explaining to people that look, it's scalable. We need to have a generalist system to facilitate for things that it hasn't seen, right? We need to have that capability, and we need to bet on deep learning. But no, everybody wanted to see basic stats, right? So they didn't understand why do you need that. When we started utilizing generative adversarial networks in 2016 to generate novel molecules with the desired properties, everybody was also asking, like, why are you doing that? And not utilizing maybe some genetic algorithms that work just as well. By the way, they still work extremely well. And we are glad that some of the reviewers wanted to have that. And now people are asking, okay, why are you building those life models utilizing multi-omics data instead of just focusing on prediction of disease or building disease models? Why do you need to actually understand kind of healthy biology? And why do you need to do that across multiple species? What kind of data are you using, right? You probably need to have a lot of data. And then you prove to them that, with very limited data, you can actually build those life models and they can start generalizing. And you can train your model on mouse, rat, monkey, and human, and then show it, let's say, dog. And the system still understands that it's a mammalian species. and it can guess its age, for example, understand whether it has a certain tumor, interpret some biological data, even though it has never seen a dog. So it's kind of zero-shot interpretation of biology in the species that it hasn't seen before. And I think that those models are going to be extremely powerful. I also think that another thing that people are not talking about is the ability to generate novel materials. And material science is likely to be kind of the lower hanging fruit than even drugs. So for us, once we switched from, once we expanded some of our algorithms from just basic drug discovery to small molecule design for CO2 capture materials, we realized, wow, we are outperforming state of art, right, from just from scratch, instead of just hanging kind of at the back of the line, right? Because a lot of people were trying to do that before. But it turns out once you're really good at generation of novel chemistry with technology that allows you to get brain penetrable molecules that target one specific protein and nothing else, and you also can optimize for many other parameters, you should be pretty good at designing a few molecules and a combo that is very effective as capturing carbon dioxide and being able to release it with certain in certain environment, certain properties. So I think that this is another extremely important area that people should be focusing on, and also talking about it. And finally, one other thing that people are not talking about is, in every science fiction movie, you've got the device where you can go into the container, into the chamber, get cryonically preserved, and then, come out without significant damage. We've seen it in, Star Wars. Every science fiction movie has it. Now I think we actually do have the technology to get there. We're just not experimenting enough. And AI can actually help you achieve those multi-parameter optimization solver that allows you to find those optimal conditions where you can freeze and unfreeze in certain with certain temperature, pressure, combination of noble gases, and certain electromagnetic fields. So I think that this is going to be another huge technology that will be available to us within the next 20 years. I actually think that's going to be bigger than generative AI in general, the ability to create kind of cryo hotels where you can wait until the clinical trial is completed and get your drug once you know it works. So people should be talking more about that.
Last quick question for you. What are you most looking forward to from HumanX, the HumanX event?
Well, HumanX, I was very impressed by the speaker lineup. I was not aware of this event before, and kind of it was somewhere in the background. I don't know. And then I looked at the speakers that are coming, and I realized that if all of these people are there live, I should be there too. And it's going to be a very worthwhile event, big gathering of a very diverse set of intellectuals. And I think that this is one of the events you shouldn't be missing.
Thanks so much for coming on here, sharing some thoughts. I hope to see you there, if not before then. And maybe the stars will align. I'll be able to see one of your facilities as well. But thanks again for joining us here today, and best of luck with everything. Love what you're doing, and thanks for all that you do.
Thank you, and stay healthy.